Look, we all know Les Snead, Sean McVay, and the Los Angeles Rams are going to find another late-round gem this year. But my question to you is, where? At what position? Because I think the Rams are walking into this year's draft in a pretty solid spot. They could definitely use some help in the back seven, the secondary a little bit, the linebacker room a little bit, but they got a great defensive line. They're looking at a QB of the future, and by future, I mean a couple years from now. They got a pretty good offense, could benefit from a tight end coming in and potentially getting more meaningful snaps, unseating a guy like Tyler Higbee and the depth that has been building below him. But this Los Angeles Rams team is in a really good spot, and they have a ton of late round picks. You look at what they have in this year's draft: 26 in the first round, nothing in the second round, but multiple in the third round, one in the fourth round, and 4 round 6 picks. That is where the Rams tend to lean into trading up. That is where they found gems in the past. This Rams team is in a great spot to build the depth of their roster with where they are picking this year. Again, they could use a tight end, especially in the first round. We're going to see who's available. They could use some DB help, some linebacker help. And if they find the right guy in those middle rounds, their future QB or some QB depth behind Jimmy G, Matt Stafford, and whatever else they got going on in the quarterback room over there. Let's get into this mock draft. But before we do, if you guys are new, welcome. If you're here from the socials, welcome. My name is Max. If you don't know me, I make football content every single day for you to keep you updated and entertained on everything going on in that world. If you're new, you're not part of the family already, make sure you subscribe, because every single day up until the NFL draft, we are doing a mock draft, 7 rounds for every single NFL team. There's a bunch that are already out. There's a playlist for them. You can check it out in the description or to the side of your screen. And we got plenty more coming out throughout this next week. So if you subscribe, even turn your notifications on, you can see when those next videos come out just by a notification on your phone or an email, and you can watch them just like that. Let's get into this mock draft, though. Again, guys, these mock drafts are all on PFF. There's a link for it in the description if you want to check it out and try it for yourself. I know a lot of people love doing this for their favorite teams. But let's start this draft with the Los Angeles Rams. Again, I'm not really in the business to trade up right now, at least looking at the Rams. So I'm going to move through this pretty quickly, not going to take a ton of time. And we're going to be on the clock again at 26 with our first round pick. So just pausing it very briefly, looking who's going. Tyler Warren went at pick 9, a guy we have our eye on. Colston Loveland is another one at the tight end position. But we could also take a zone-centric corner. That's another very interesting one. We're going to see who's available for us at 26. Malachi Starks is on the board. We could take a safety if we really wanted to. Colston Loveland is on the board for us. If we really want to get that offensive prospect that can do a lot of different things, that can block, that can help you in the zone scheme, who's a really good receiver, Colston Loveland is probably going to be our guy. In the reality, looking at some of the teams behind us, like maybe Washington tries to take a guy like that, we could nab somebody, or we could load up and get some other picks. Let's see who wants to trade up. The only near team is the New York Jets, who wants to trade up. So I think, honestly, we stick on the clock here. We can look Colston Loveland. James Pierce Jr., another edge rusher, would be great for our defensive line. We don't need it. But Malachi Starks should come in and be a starting safety for us day one. There are some good tight end prospects throughout the rest of the draft. I love our 2 picks at 90 and 101 for potential tight ends. We're going to take Malachi Starks here and get a starting safety, hopefully day one, immediately to come in and do a lot of different things in the run game, help us in the secondary and the pass game. Malachi Starks is our first-round pick. Kind of shocked he fell that far, to be honest with you, but we are looking now pick 34 from our pick right now. Again, some players going, looking at the running backs who are going, safeties who are going. I'm glad we got our safety early on. Nobody really here, at least in terms of players that I want to trade up for, potentially want to get. We're going to be on the clock here in 20 picks, waiting at 90 and 101, again, prioritizing hopefully a tight end depending on who's available, as well as some linebacker depth and looking at what quarterbacks are available. Right now at 90, we have Dart, Milroe, Shedeur, and Cam Ward all off the board. I don't believe there's another one unless I'm mistaken. But like Will Howard, Riley Leonard, Dylan Gabriel. I think we can wait a little bit for quarterback. I think there are other positions of need, especially. Looking at who's available, again, we got some really, really good running backs who are available. In terms of the linebacker position, I did see a name I really like at the tight end position. In terms of the linebacker position, we have a couple guys. Nobody really that I'm loving that's sticking out to me right now. Jeffrey Bassa would be a good addition to our team at pick 90. But honestly, I'm more fascinated with the name I just saw at the tight end position, Harold Fannin Jr. I'm not convinced he's going to be there for us at 101. I think there will be some more linebacker depth for us at 101. So I'm going to take Harold Fannin Jr. to come into our offense and do a lot of different things at the tight end position, can be a slot wide receiver as well. And the Rams, again, us on the clock at 101 with a compensatory pick. Looking at some of the linebackers that are on the board. Bassa is still available. This is a guy who's, again, good in coverage in terms of what he's actually done. He's played a ton of snaps in the box, but is comfortable enough moving out wide, has seen 50-plus snaps outside of the box in the slot in each of the last 3 years. Looking at a guy like Barrett Carter, this is a guy who's a better run defender, has played more in the box, kind of a bigger, stockier guy. He's 6'1", 230. He can get after the quarterback, line up along the defensive line, but we ultimately want a guy who's going to help us in the run game. Jack Kaiser's another good one, a guy who's primarily played in the box, but I think we go Jeffrey Bassa here. Looking at this guy, 6'2", 235, former safety as well, so has that ability to be a little bit fluid in terms of where he can play and line up. The Rams will love that in their sub-package stuff. Jeffrey Bassa is the pick for us here, and we're going to be on the clock again at 127, looking at some DB depth, some linebacker depth, potentially some projects. But here at 127, guys, Will Howard is on the board. This could be a guy who steps in a couple years and is our quarterback of the future, sitting behind Matthew Stafford. He's very smart. I do worry a bit about the arm strength and arm talent, but I think Will Howard is smart enough to step into this Rams scheme, be a good play action, back to the defense type quarterback. I honestly think we can look at guys like Barrett Carter. We can look at potential DB help. Let's look at see if we got some zone corners as well. Zay Alexander, Elijah Huzzy, guys who are good. This guy, Zay Alexander, has been much better in zone than man. Elijah Huzzy, pretty even in terms of what he wants to do. And if you guys don't know, Rams run zone defense at a very high rate. Denzel Burke is another interesting one. But I think Denzel Burke, who again is not great against man, but great against zone, will probably be there for us, or could be there for us at 190. So I almost think we take the chance on Will Howard here. Yeah, let's do it. Let's take Will Howard as our potential quarterback of the future in round 4. We're going to be on the clock at 190. Look at those picks, guys. We got 190, 195, 201, and 202 all to wrap this draft up. Again, we could use some DB help. Zone corner should be the primary focus here. We're going to see who's available for us. Boom, Denzel Burke, no brainer there. We're going to be on the clock again at 5 picks, and then we'll really break some stuff down. But I love this draft for the Rams so far. If we're looking at offensive production, maybe you want a slot guy because the Rams lost Cooper Kupp. Shamar Deke is fascinating to me, 6'1", 195, but not necessarily the true motion by your eyes guy in terms of the slot. Jimmy Horn Jr. is that type of guy, but he will be there available. Well, we don't really have picks later. We got 3 picks in the next 8, but this is a slot guy who's quick, who can do a lot of different things, can catch the zone screens. Caden Prather, 6'3", 210. Dante Thornton Jr., 6'5", I believe. These are all bigger. 6'5". These are all bigger outside guys. So not necessarily sure how much we really want these guys, the bigger outside guys, to step into our team right now. We have other guys in the slot. We need guys who can buy eyes with motion. And to me, that is Jimmy Horn Jr. Efton Kism III, 5'11", 200. I would honestly prefer to take somebody from Colorado over Kism, but looking at who else is available, we don't need to take him right now. We could use some defensive line help, as always. Could definitely use some defensive line help. Tyler Show is the best overall prospect on the board right now. Curtis Rourke is available as well. But I'm fascinated by Caleb Ransaw because this is a guy who's like a true nickel almost. You can see the majority of the snaps from the past 2 years came in the slots at the nickel position. He's more like a Sam Backer kind of build. He's 6 foot, 196, a little bit of a bigger guy. And you can see he's played plenty of snaps along the defensive line, but in 2022 was a true outside corner. So he's a bigger, stronger nickel. When you look at the Rams depth chart, I mean, there are definitely some ways you can attack this defensive back room. Obviously, we just got a safety in Malachi Starks who's going to come in and give us some value there. We've got Denzel Burke on the outside. I almost think we could use an edge rusher. We could use some depth along that side because we have Kobe Turner, Braden Fisk, Tyler Davis, and Poona Ford, a new signing this offseason, to step in and boost up the interior defensive line. I kind of think we need somebody on the outside. So looking at who's available in the edge rusher world, Johnny Walker Jr. would be a good one. Colin Oliver to me is a good one. Fadil Diggs is a guy who was very productive in terms of getting after the quarterback, especially lined up primarily in an outside, like an outside linebacker, off-ball type wide 9 role. I honestly think Fadil Diggs is the guy here. We take him. Again, we get our edge rusher. We could definitely use some offensive help, though. Like, I don't want to just throw the offensive production out the window. We don't, in my opinion, don't really need running back help. Interior offensive line is always a good one. I love the Rams offensive line right now. Kevin Dotson's very good. Coleman Shelton, Steve Avila is very good guard. And the tackles are good. I know PFF says tackle as a need. Maybe you could use a guy who's done multiple things. But Jake Majors is a guy who's been a starting center at Texas for, three years. Has been pretty good. I don't know. He's a good pass blocking center, and that always helps. You can learn, especially in Sean McVay's run scheme, to do things better in the run game. I think we take Jake Majors here, and we're back on the clock again at 202 with our final pick. That is where we can take Jimmy Horn Jr. and get our slot wide receiver. So this is the final draft. We're going to sim to the end. We got 50 picks, but personally, I like our draft a lot. I think we got better in the secondary, priority number 1 for sure. We got some linebacker help. We got a very good tight end in Harold Fannin Jr. We're in a really good spot moving forward with this draft. Again, I'll pull this up for you guys, see what they give us in terms of a grade. B+, top 37% of Los Angeles Rams draft. Malachi Starks and Denzel Burke, 2 A picks, middle round B picks. Fadil Diggs, Jimmy Orr Jr., Jake Majors, not great, but we're picking in round 6. What are you going to do there? I really like this draft. We get Will Howard, our guy of the future. Jeffrey Bossett helped the linebacker room, and a bigger outside guy in Fadil Diggs, who's kind of a Sam backer almost, but gets after the quarterback as an edge rusher. Denzel Burke, Malachi Starks in the DB room, and then our third round pick, second pick, Harold Fannin Jr. to immediately come in and help our offense. I personally love this draft. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. And again, make sure you subscribe to stay updated and informed on when the next mock drafts come out, depending on when you're seeing this Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern. The Texans mock draft will be out. So if you're a Texans fan watching this, make sure you stay tuned. Got plenty of other mock drafts coming out, one every single day leading up to the NFL draft as well. I appreciate you guys watching. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like. See you next time. God bless.